Okay, so this is the first day of my gravel ride, well, bike ride. I did go down Sizemore Road. I think I already turned my computer off, yeah. But I only did about 25 miles today because I got a late start and had lunch in town before I left. But I packed this thing super heavy today. I've got a backpack on. That's a 36-liter pack. That's got my sleeping bag, my 20 below sleeping bag, and my super warm down pad. And I brought a chair. That thing in the straps there is like a 4-pound chair, and the gloves I was using. And then I put these water bottles up front today. This is the first time I've had the mounts there for a while, but I never carried anything with them yet. And it was great having that extra weight on the front of the bike. Really seemed to help with the stability and maneuvering and handling and everything of the bike when you have a bunch of weight on the back. So I'm doing a 2-night trip, and I've got tons of water. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like at least 10 liters of water. There's 3 liters sitting on the front of the bike there. There's 3 liters in that frame bag, and a couple bottles there, and I've got water in those packs on the back too. So yeah, and then like my tent. Oh, and I brought a tent and a hammock, so I can go either way. That'll be interesting. I might even set up both if I feel like it, just for fun. So that's what I got. I was going to camp up on this rock over there, ridge or whatever, but it was just too rough, so I had to just come down and find this kind of boring spot in the forest. But you know, it's nice and soft. There's pine needles everywhere. It's real loamy, soft stuff, so it'll be a comfortable evening. I won't have a view, but I will be comfortable. Okay, got my camp set up. I got my recliner chair, little campfire, clothes laying out to dry. Of course, they'll probably, I don't know, it's not gonna rain tonight, it's clear, but they may get dew on them. And I set up my hammock. I don't think I'm gonna set up the tent because the hammock's looking pretty cozy. I got this camouflage because it turns out I'm pretty close to the road. I didn't even realize. I guess you can't see it in the video, but the road's about, I would say, 200 feet that direction. And then there's also like a trail over there. Some people came by. So this wasn't as isolated as I thought. So I got a chance to try to go stealth camping with my laying that sheet of camo in my hammock. Everything's pretty low vis except for that green sheet, but you know, it's right on the ground, so I think from a distance you wouldn't see it. And then of course my fire and my chair are kind of higher vis. But you know, whatever, I do what I can. And look at my fire's getting away from me there, burning the grass. I'll keep an eye on that. Yep, so that's it for the camp tonight. So this is where I camped last night. I came up here and found a lot of rocks and uneven surfaces. I was kind of hoping to camp in my tent last night because I did a hammock on the first night, and there probably was some hammock spot, like those 2 trees down there in the center of the well, anyway, there's a couple trees down there that might work. But anyway, I found this little ledge here and decided to set up here. It's actually, you know, I think that kind of gets overlooked. People are always kind of wondering if they should go in a tent or a hammock. And really, when you've got guaranteed blue skies, which is what I've had this trip, well, and it's winter. I mean, this is early February. So there's zero bugs. So the bug thing is potentially an issue in the summer, but in the winter or shoulder seasons with good weather, you can just throw down on the dirt and be quite comfortable. I was very comfortable last night. So I'm making my coffee here. Actually making my second cup of coffee. Oh, I left my water out last night and it froze. You can kind of see the ice in there. I've been able to use, like, this one was in a shoe, and it's like I've been able to use about 80% of it, and the other one was plain old out and it got more frozen, but I'm still able to use, I would say, at least half of it. So that's what happens to those water bottles when it's 25 degrees out, I think is what it got to last night. The one in the shoe did better. Obviously, I should have had some water in my sleeping bag. This is what I've been eating for lunch. It's crackers and cheese. I got these little bags recently. Kind of trying to move away from Ziplocs, I guess. These ones are made by Granite Gear. They were on sale at Sportsman's Warehouse, so I picked them up. They seem kind of cool, but you can't see through them. The cool thing about Ziplocs is you know what's in it, because you can see. And these things you can't. So I'm trying to put labels on them, and I wrote on it with a marker, but it doesn't take the marker that well. So it's kind of a project. These ones are really cool. They actually came with it because they have the mesh, and then you can see what's in it. Like, that's obviously my bathroom facility. I've got my toothpaste, toothbrush, hairbrush, chapstick. And there's another, and that one is the right size for my toilet paper. Kind of cool. Anyway, I think that's it. This is my campsite for today. I wanted to talk about what the real goal of this trip was. Basically, in my backpacking experience, I've used a cross bike before, and I always had a problem with shimmy at higher speeds when the bike's loaded down. And what I've traditionally used is these rear panniers and this bag that sits on top, which I love because it's got the orange spot at the back that really helps with visibility. I also use a nice bright blinker light when I'm on populated roads. But anyway, I would use a cross bike traditionally. And if I got up to like 20 miles an hour, sometimes even 15 if I was really loaded with weight, the front end would just get really unstable. And so I got this new bike thinking that would, there's got to be a solution to the problem, right? So I figured a beefier bike. That cross bike I was using was really a race bike. And it was really lightweight. Like, I think it weighed stock 17 pounds. This bike stock weighed, oh gosh, I can't remember, like 19 or a little over 19, almost 20 pounds stock. And I took it out with the same setup, the same bags and everything. I've always used that front bag there, and I've always used the frame bag. And I basically still had the same problem. I mean, it wasn't quite as bad as it used to be, but I was still having the same problem. So the options came down to load distribution or the rigidity of the wheels. Because I noticed the wheels that were on the Ibis that I used to ride were very race-orientated wheels, like 1,500 gram aluminum wheels, basically, with I think a low spoke count. And I can't remember what the numbers are because I really don't know that kind of stuff off the top of my head. I want to say like 24, where 28 is kind of the more heavy duty, or 32, Anyway, they were low spoke count and very lightweight. And this bike, when it came stock, had a set of Shimano wheels that actually weren't very lightweight. They were like a 1,900 gram set, but the front wheel was low spoke count. It had less spokes than a really strong wheel. I don't really understand why they did that. So anyways, there's two theories I was working on with this bike. One is weight distribution, and the other is wheels. I got the wheels first, new wheels that are higher spoke count. I think these are like 28 spokes on the front and rear, and they're carbon. And I didn't really do, I didn't shop for lightweight wheels. I just wanted to get carbon because I believe carbon's a better material for wheels. But I wasn't looking to shave grams, really. I don't actually even know what these wheels weigh, although I suspect they're in the 1,500 to 1,600 gram range. But that was not part of the purchase decision. And then I did that trip a few weeks ago in January, where the only change really was the wheel set, and the issue was better. It was still there, but it was better. The front end was still a little wobbly at speed, but not as bad. So I think I had made part of the progress. So on this trip, I went ahead and put water up front on these Topeak bottle holders to distribute some weight up to the front and down low too, which I know I've heard and experienced in my life that lower weight is better, basically. And the thing about my rear panniers is they're really small panniers, so they hold the load kind of high in the rear too. So anyway, now on this trip, I think I finally hit the sweet spot with having stiffer wheels and this extra weight up front and low. This really seemed to help the handling of the bike. It feels like it should at this point. It's not 100% stable, and that's probably because this is really basically a gravel bike. It's a Da Vinci Hatchet. I think it's kind of like a race gravel bike. It's not exactly designed for touring, although it has mounts spots for racks. Like I was able to mount that rear rack very nicely to it, but it doesn't have a really good accommodation on the front. It's got that little thing right there, which I have not yet figured out how to use it really. I think it's more designed for a fender. At this point, I'm just using it to keep the zip tie from sliding down. Essentially it's a stop for the zip tie. But I think now that I've got this idea of having the weight up front more embedded, I'm going to look for a more secure way than just zip tying these to the frame. I mean, I might see how long they last, but I just don't think they're going to last, because all those parts you see there are plastic, where this Allen screw adjustments, these are all plastic bits. Even this serrated part here it's all plastic, and it can strip out, I think, pretty easily. So I don't hold up a lot of hope that these are going to be a long-term solution. I'd hate to, go on a real trip and find a failure point there. So I am going to be kind of looking for a better solution there. But I've been really happy with the weight distribution now, and the wheels, and the way the bike handles with the new weight distribution. So in summary, we basically had a success here. I think the total weight when I started with the backpack and the bike and all the water was probably around 80 pounds for the bike and all the gear on the bike and the backpack. By the time I'm done, I'll probably be rolling in around 50 pounds, which is actually probably what'll be my starting weight on most trips usually. I specifically loaded this trip down quite a bit to test this setup, and I think it's passed the test, so that's the good news. And it was a test, but also a good little trip, getting out and enjoying this wonderful February winter weather we're having. Thanks for watching.